to Photog TV, episode 26. This is a roundtable discussion today because Eric and I just couldn't think of anything to talk about. So we are opening it up to the public. And for those of you that are watching from our website, you can add your comments using the Facebook chat feature, and we will do our best to engage all of our loyal followers and fans. As far as the discussion points for today, I was able to finagle David Apuzzo from Connecticut to join in, be our sacrificial lamb. He's got some cool tips on social media as far as getting more people to like your fan page, as well as starting his, or not starting, but kind of re-highlighting his t-shirt line, which I saw this morning, which was pretty cool. So thanks for joining us, David.
Thank you.
And Eric, how are the mowers going over there?
The mowers outside, they've moved on to the next lawn, so I think I'm good on that. But before we get started, I do wanted to share something completely random, and that is my love for being able to now make my own Nike shoes. So you can actually, I guess they've had this around because my friend Ben Sassani said, hey, you're kind of late to the game on this, but in this house, we're big fans of the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're in the playoffs, so I made some Oklahoma City Thunder styled shoes, and you can customize the little thing there on the top, so a little E-Dog action on the lip there. So this is called the Nike ID system, I think, is what it is. So you can go there, pick out a shoe to start, and customize it. It's kind of cool.
That is cool.
That's my random share. What's yours, Dustin?
My random share, wow, you really put me in the spotlight because I'm just totally bedazzled by your new shoes. Actually, I have some good news. A local high school has contracted with me to be their official yearbook photographer for all their seniors.
Wow.
So that was, we finally got the green light from them, I guess, a couple weeks ago, but we officially put in the order to send out all the mailers and stuff. So all you kids that are watching, if you don't come to my studio before Thanksgiving, you won't be in the Westwood High School yearbook. So we hope to see you soon.
So now how does that work? Do you have to set up like days and times that you're going to do stuff and give them a schedule ahead of time, or do they just report people to you? Essentially what it does is people will contact us. We send out a large mailer that has all of our packages and all that good stuff, as well as the official letter from the school saying, this is not a hijinks or whatever, this is the official studio. And the students will then schedule their sessions during the summertime, hopefully all of them during the summertime, and we will just crank out as many pictures as we can before the quote-unquote deadline to have them submitted for the yearbook. So, but we have several different packages, so they don't just do like the sit in front of the blue backdrop type of thing. They can go outside, do all that kind of stuff. And the idea behind it originally was Westwood's one of the few schools where they want the seniors' pictures in the yearbook to be different from all the underclassmen. So and preferably something like outdoors. So that way people can, just feel special because they're seniors, that kind of thing. So cool.
But yeah, so it's a big boost in business, and I love shooting weddings and stuff like that. But over the past several years, I've been kind of transitioning, doing less of them because I've got 2 kids, and I like having my weekends. So. In fact, my Memorial Day weekend, I have 2 weddings, Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, wow. When I was doing weddings, I would not have ever wanted to do 2 in a weekend. I think I just would have cried.
Yeah, that's usually my approach, but I have these 2. I'm working with 2 of my favorite wedding planners this weekend, and so I couldn't really say no. It was one of those things. They're like, please. I'm like, fine. That sort of deal. Has
cool.
Nothing to do with the brides. I'm kidding. So David, you have like how many likes do you have on your fan page right now?
I don't know. I'll tell you in a second.
He's like, it goes up every day.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Let me get rid of that. Sorry about that. As of right now, I'm at, looks like it's at 42.95.
Nice.
So can we back up a little bit, David? Can you give us a little background on yourself? And
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been doing photo full time since 2006. I went to school originally actually for graphic design. I went for 2 years. I got my associate's degree in graphic design, and then when I left one college, I went to another. I transferred, and then I ended up switching majors over to photography, and I got really big into like band photos and going to rock shows and photographing all the bands there. And then it just kind of started to kind of glide into portrait work and stuff like that, just trying to be a little bit more creative with it though. I got to use a lot of that lighting from the rock shows, so I think that that's where all of my kind of color background comes from, is because I'm always working with this uncontrolled light that now that I have the control over it, I was able to learn a lot from that. So that's where I'm at now, and I'm just doing weddings, I'm doing all that stuff. Looks like I got a package here. You guys hang on one second.
That's why it's random roundtable.
Exactly. There are no rules today, so for any of you guys watching from the website right now, you can also come into the Hangout. In fact, I'm going to grab the link and then post it in the Facebook feed.
Hey, Dustin, can you check the website and see if you see that video showing up there?
It is. I just checked it.
You did? Okay, because I can't.
How about that, Dustin? Something nice from Collages.
Sweet!
I don't know what it is, but I hope it's good.
I'm sure it is. It usually is. If it's not like a fruit basket or cookies or something like that, then it's usually photos.
Yeah.
Did you get that survey? That actually, I'll back up. Collages.net is a online professional photographer service provider. They do online hosting for galleries. They do print fulfillment. They do album binding. That kind of stuff. But I don't know if I'm breaking code by saying this in public, but they sent out a survey recently to all their subscribers. They're considering to offer the option of doing post-production for photographers, basically image editing, so which I was really excited about. I've been asking them to do this for years because I'm probably the laziest photographer you'll ever meet. I don't do anything. All I do is take pictures and drink coffee, and then at night I take pictures and then drink whiskey. But
whiskey,
that's
not tequila.
Yeah, not tequila. But yeah, so I'm really hoping that they decide to go forward with that. So
I actually have an interesting side story to that.
Oh yeah?
I got an email about that, and I was kind of surprised. Although I don't know if you know about this. You send out for some post production.
Yes.
And who do you send it out to?
I use Photo Fafa.
Okay. I use a company called Missing Element.
Uh-huh.
And they're from Philadelphia. They're literally down the street from Collages.
Really?
So I'm wondering if they have partnered up and done that.
I wouldn't be surprised, because if there's one thing that that they are good at, it's teaming up their resources and making sure that I definitely, I know that they do album design, and my original assumption was that their album design team would also be the ones doing post-production, but...
Well, funny story is I believe that Missing Element does their album design.
Really? Okay.
I think. I could be wrong, but I did an album design through them, and I said, I'm going to get these print, because they asked me for templates so they could design my albums. And I said, oh, I'm going to use Collages, I'm going to use this album, this size, and they have all the templates already. So they said, oh, well, if you're using Collages, I think it was like the first 2 albums or something that I did from them. They're like, here's a 25% discount.
Mm-hmm.
So hold on a sec, guys, I got to walk.
He's a busy guy.
Hey, I saw Erica there. Hello, Erica. How are you?
Good, good. Recovering from all that Google Plus conference stuff.
I'll say now, how many of those did you do?
Only 3, but man, it was a lot. They had all these regulations. You had to have your background just right. You couldn't have anything there.
I was going to say,
noises.
watch what you say, because we're streaming through Google Plus right now. So, you know,
right,
Big Brother
I'm not saying
is
anything
watching.
bad. I'm just saying it was a lot of work.
All right, so what we're talking about there is that there is this week this brand new conference, the Google Plus Photography Conference, which is kind of co-hosted by Google Plus and the team over at Kelby Training and NAP and all that. And what they were doing was they were doing this really cool thing where whoever was giving a presentation, they would have a live hangout going at the same time, and they would have however many, 6, 7 people in the hangout that could ask questions of the presenter, and all of that was being streamed live to not only the people on Google Plus, but also the people in the conference hall, which I'm guessing were probably 100 or 200 per presentation. And so they were soliciting people to be in these hangouts, and both Eric and I got asked and did some, and it's so funny the difference between the process they go through to get you ready for it versus what we go through here. There they were sending emails wanting to know your bandwidth and check your lighting and jump in a half hour early and all this, lots of preparation. We're here, we're just like, just come on in. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's fine.
And you don't mind when my daughter runs in and hands me a note.
No, we don't care. We think it's
Or he has the postman come.
Yeah.
So.
People come stuff and drop stuff off. So I think that conference is wrapping up. Is it today, Erica, was the last day, or was it yesterday?
Yesterday. Last night was the last day.
Last night was last night. So a lot.
But it was great. It was great. It was just, it was a little intense.
So what were the ones, do you remember the presentations? We were both in for Jeremy Cowart, and what were the other 2 that you did?
I did 10 tips for Google Plus photographers, and one other one about how to do a hangout, how to make a successful hangout.
Okay.
So, but you do successful hangouts, so I mean.
I was going to ask you, Erica, are we successful? Is this a hangout?
You're successful.
And look, random kid.
Exactly. Yep. I think she's done a cameo in every one of my hangouts here with you guys.
That's cool. Yeah, there we go. So I remember jumping in. Well, I did the Jeremy Cowart one, and if you can hear this lawnmower guy, I apologize. That's how professional we are. We got lawnmower guys up front. I also watched RC's one on prepping images for Google Plus, and you can go to the Google Plus conference page on Google Plus and see these videos. They're still up there,
and they're also on YouTube.
They're all on YouTube, and he had some interesting points on that one as far as like watermarking images and what to do and what not to do. And of course, we all thought, we don't want a big garish watermark, but he actually presents it as watermarking, and instead of watermarking, he kind of calls it branding. And so the idea isn't to intimidate people into not stealing your images.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But just so that people can identify it as your work.
Exactly, yeah. It's almost like, and he likened it to like a signature on a print or a painting or something like that, and thinking of it more like that. So I took some notes during that one. I'll probably check out some of the other ones.
See, I don't know what people are complaining about, because my handwriting in real life is Century Gothic. Like, my handwriting is perfect. My handwriting is a font. So I sign all my images, but for some reason people keep complaining that I'm watermarking my photos.
Well, you did spend 8 years in a design boarding school as a child, which not many people know, but that's probably where you learned all that stuff.
I know. I just started seeing daylight like a few weeks ago for the first time.
They start you with one of those printing press machines or whatnot. You're moving like the little pieces of letters around and stamping stuff down.
Absolutely. In fact,
I'd love that.
I lost my right hand, and now I have a hook there because it got mashed into the Daily Times 1856 Benjamin Franklin edition.
That's right. That's why we only have headshots of Dustin, never his whole body.
So I actually want to get back to David with his remarkable amount of fans that he's got on his fan page. He and I been kind of chatting back and forth, and said that he would possibly drop a few tips on ways for people to boost their fan page likes. So so David, what kind of got you started? You know, what what lightning bolt inspiration did you receive that kind of gave you the idea on how to do this?
I don't know. I mean, it's something that I didn't really, put out there to get all these fans. I don't know. I think my entire philosophy just on this art form in itself is just to do it for that reason. It's just to create something and not so much worry about what somebody's going to say, what somebody's going to do. I mean, if you're happy and you're secure in what you're doing and you just want to share it with people, then there's an open forum on Facebook to do that. I would say this. I mean, one thing that I do like to do is I like to include everybody with every post. I like to respond to some people. I like to ask people questions and like for instance, I think it was a few weeks ago, I posted a photo of, actually I have it right here. This is, if you guys can see it, this is actually my very first 35 millimeter that was given to me when I was in high school. This was my father's camera. So he gave this to me, and I just posted a picture of it, and I just said, hey, this is my first camera. And I said, what did you guys all start on? And people just started, commenting and commenting. The other thing, too, is, when you're posting a photo and you tag somebody in it, I mean, you tag somebody into it, they love it, they start shouting that out, and then they start sharing it with all their friends. And, it got to a point where I think everyone was just doing that, and it just kind of, they started seeing something. And listen, I don't like to really, say anything about my work, but I think people were, because I just do what I like to do, but I think people like some of the creativity behind it, with whether it's lighting or technique or whatever it may be, just the subject matter. But people started sharing my stuff like crazy, and it's something that just kind of came out of nowhere. And I think maybe because, I mean, one of the things that I thought about is maybe, I do a lot of weddings. I'm full-time on that, and then I also try to do all of these, interesting portraits, and, fashion editorial, stuff like that. And I think that's something around, now I don't know what it is around where you guys are, but there's not a whole lot of that around in Connecticut where people are just, they have one kind of frame of business, and then they just do something completely different from what they put out there. Meaning, if they're a wedding photographer, they do a lot of wedding and bridal stuff. But I'm just kind of all over the spectrum, and that goes back to when I, was shooting bands. So I would kind of do all that stuff. But yeah, it's just, whenever I shoot a wedding, I mean, things like, little things that I do is, that help me grow is, when I'm kind of hanging around the studio or something, I mean, I'm constantly looking at some of my images and trying to figure out, what I want to try next with lighting. And when I go to, for instance, when I go to a wedding, I always, I get all the shots that I've kind of planned out with the locations, but I'll always try to manipulate the lights somewhere different that I maybe have not tried before. And if it works out, it works out. But if it doesn't, maybe that's something that I can start maneuvering around light with to something, maybe I have a wedding the following weekend that I may be able to perfect by then. So I like to I definitely try to try new things. But the cool thing about it is you may do something slightly different with lighting, but the couple doesn't even know about it. So I think that's kind of important, because if they knew about it, then obviously I got to kind of show them what happened. But I always try to do one thing new, and then when I shoot during the week, just kind of random stuff, I just try new techniques, and then that kind of relays back to the wedding.
So David, on this work that you do, when you mix it up like you talk about weddings versus like commercial and fashion kind of work, do you notice any difference on the interaction from people on Facebook depending on the type of work it is? Like you get more activity from people, like, here's my wedding my recent wedding work. And
it's funny because I wouldn't say the beginning. Let's go back to like a year ago. I would say there was a lot of recognition for a lot of the fashion stuff and a lot of that kind of creative look. But then I started. I think last year was my first full year of weddings. Like I did a few my first year. The year before last, I did 15. Last year, I jumped to 30, and then so it kind of did that huge jump. I think now I think it's kind of leveling out now. Like I think my wedding clients actually really enjoy all of that stuff, and when they come into my studio, I have these images on my wall, 30 by 45 on metal that are just kind of like super high gloss on my wall, freestanding, and they walk in and they love it. They love everything about it. So that's kind of, it's kind of, I think the other thing that people are noticing is that I'm not meeting them at a Starbucks, so I'm meeting them actually at my studio. They walk in my front door and it's immediately my spot, like you're now in my domain. And when we go to a Starbucks, it's like I have no control over what they're going to perceive me as, or even see work. What am I going to do? Pull out like a little iPad and start thumbing through that stuff? No, these are like huge, making a statement on the wall. And I think that's something that really draws the clients that I have to me, is because they like that something a little different. So I'm very lucky to have these clients that actually get what I do, and it makes it even more worth it. Whenever I do engagement shoots, I like to try something a little different with them, and I did one of my sessions. They were big into. They actually own a CrossFit now, so they're big into like MMA fighting and all that. And we actually did an entire MMA like engagement shoot where we had them all dressed up. We had a hair makeup artist. We shot it actually right down in my basement of the studio.
That's not on a blog somewhere, is it?
Yeah, it's.
Or on a
website.
On
my Facebook page. My Facebook page has them in there somewhere if you find them in the pool of images.
Can you
they're also I think if you go onto my website itself I didn't put it under engagement. I think I actually put it under commercial, just because that's how much it looked more commercial than it did for an engagement. But yeah, the same thing. My clients actually like it when I kind of bring them into their own, comfort zone of, doing something a little different. So I think they like making it more about fashionable and editorial and with an idea, rather than just, hey, let's go sit on a park bench over in the park over there, or let's go walk down the street,
Well, that's cool. So, I mean, do you find then that like a potential client, like a couple comes in and they're like, hey, we're here for weddings, but we really like what you did with that other thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And we want to mesh these two together and come up with.
All the time. Like they come in and I think literally when you walk in my front door, there's huge prints all over the place, and that's their first view of when they walk in, and they know from my Facebook page, they know from my website, they know that I do all of this stuff, and all of my contacts have been coming directly through all of my I should say referrals have been coming through my website, so I know that they're coming from there. So I think from that, they already know what they're getting into. So if they see, like when I get an email from somebody that says, hey, we love your work, or actually no, they don't even say they love my work. They actually just email me for quotes and stuff, and then I email them back, and sometimes they never even seen my work. And I'm like, well, you guys sent me an email. I mean, in the case of that, I make sure I say, well, listen, I could send you all the pricing in the world, but I need you to look at my work. And
yeah, exactly, because then it's like a commodity thing. Like they've got a list of 20 photographers they need to get quotes from, and
right. because I look at them. Well, that's the thing. When you're getting quoted by another photographer, I mean, you're basically getting quoted on somebody's, professionalism, skill level, what they're doing. I mean, they could be, any kind of photographer that is out there, like an Uncle Joe that just has a camera and says, "Hey, I'm going to shoot your wedding." But the fact that it's like a yellow pages. You look through that, you don't see their work. And I think that a lot of people, and there are some people out there, and luckily I'm not getting a lot of them, but that just go down a list and they just start sending emails and they don't even research it. And I think that that's crazy. So whenever I do get an email like that, I make sure that they go to my website, and if that's the case, then look, you got to look at my work, and then we can set up a meeting to talk, because I would feel so uncomfortable with the vibe of them not even knowing what they're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same like on the commercial side. If you flip it, like a commercial photographer just blindly sending emails out to ad agencies or whatnot, and not knowing what they do or what they specialize in, and trying to do some sort of meeting like that, to that agency, they'd probably like, hey, why is this guy he doesn't even know anything about us. So it's like on the creative side, you want people who you might be working with to have some sort of interest level in your style and your look. And
yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that people's research is, I think now with social media especially, and Pinterest and Facebook and all of those sites, people are starting to become a little bit more specific too. For instance, I have a wedding on Sunday, and I got a list of like 10 photos. And they're like, "Hey, we really like these photos. Could we do these?" And I actually met with them this morning, and I said flat out, I said, "I got your email, I got your photos, duly noted, but I'm going to do my thing." So yeah. It's one of those things too that what a lot of couples or even models or anything that don't get is, you could work with anybody and you can get any kind of photos that they're going to do, but it's all about the style. And the reason that we get hired is because, or I would hope so, is because they've seen the work and they respect the work, and that's why they want to work with us. And obviously, the vibe has to be 100%. If I'm sitting down with somebody and I know it's not working, I mean, I'm not going to waste time. I'm not going to say, even though I may have, maybe there's a slow season, but I mean, if it's not going to work out, I mean, it's just not going to work out. I mean, you got to connect with your audience. You got to connect with your clients. And if you don't do that, then you're going to be dragging ass the whole day.
Yeah.
So
no, I
have no problem turning down a job based on that vibe and that communication, because as you guys must know already, if that communication isn't there, it's going to be a hassle, and all the money in the world is not going to it's not going to help the matter in any way. So
it's actually funny that we're talking about this too, because it's the same topic, but I think from a different angle. Last night I was speaking with my wife, and she was, I was actually kind of not pulling an all-nighter. I was just working late editing some images from a wedding that I'd already done. In fact, I'd already had the images already processed, but I was getting one of those emails where they're asking for more pictures. They're like, "Well, I feel like we took a lot more pictures, during the formals," or, "I feel like there were a lot more pictures of, do you have more pictures of the centerpieces?" And like all these like really specific requests for detail shots that were never even mentioned prior to us shooting the wedding. And so I'm kind of going back, being nice, and hunting through all these images to see if stuff got left out. And this was actually a wedding that was for a bride who was at another wedding that we had done over a year ago, and she had a slightly more restricted budget. So as a friend, as a favor, we did it at a discount, which we don't normally do. And and we made quite a few concessions for this particular situation, and obviously now it's they're not being appreciated, and I kind of feel like when you deal with people that I call are like bean counters, that's really the only thing that I think they're looking for. Like the only thing that translates back to them is numbers, like how many shots did you take, how much of a discount can I get, blah 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 blah, like all that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to feel like, and I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm starting to feel like, if you put discounts out there and you're discounting, your work and the time and effort that you're putting into it, then I feel like you attract people that, that's what is the most enticing thing about you to them, is the fact that you are giving them a discount. They don't care about your work. They don't care about your personality. They don't care about, if you've been published or any of those things. All they care about is that they're getting a discount. And then when it comes to the work that the products, the finished product, when you provide it to them, they don't see you in that work. They don't see what you've done for them. All they see is, what they can take or pull out of it, almost like dissect it and start tearing it apart. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person that feels that way, but is anybody else out there kind of have the same experience when it comes to doing that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
I'm definitely with you, Dustin, on that. Absolutely, for sure.
I think with the discounts and everything, like I was saying before, is like when they come into the studio and they see the work, they know what I do. If I'm meeting them at their house or at a location or Panera Bread or whatever it is, they're not taking all of me in. So I think it's important for this. I mean, this goes back to branding. It's just, I make sure, like, when somebody asks me, hey, can you meet us here? Can you meet us here? I say no. I say, I would really like for you guys to come to my studio, kind of get a feel for who I am and everything like that, because I'm selling them me. Like, they're getting me and my work, and they're going to have to work with me from beginning to end. I'm going to see I tell the bride every single time, I say, you need to be comfortable with me, because I'm going to see you more than your husband that day. I'm going to be spending more time with them than the actual groom. And I think that speaks a lot. I mean, when you're hiring somebody, it's got to be about the work. And if you just make it about the work rather than your product, I think that's going to go more of a long way, because then you could start telling them, hey, let me go back to my wedding albums, the way that wedding albums work. I actually, for my packaging, and this is part of my branding, I actually don't include a album per se in the package itself. Okay? I give album credit. And the reason I do that is because, one, they haven't seen any photos yet. They don't know how many photos there's going to be. They're not going to know how many photos they're going to want to have in their album. Their wedding is a year away. So what I do is I give them a package with an X amount of album credit. And what that does is, once they see the photos, then we can make a decision of, hey, do we want to have a leather cover? Do we want to have a metal cover? Do we want to have a wraparound graphic cover? I want them to see the work and feel what they think is going to best fit for that, rather than tying them down to say, oh, you're just going to get a leather album. You know what I mean? Like, I think the work has to speak for the product rather than the product speak for, putting the work in there. Just my thoughts.
That's cool.
Do you mind me asking what your range is for a wedding? Like how much you charge? Yeah, basically a wedding package and what you include, because I'm just starting weddings, and so I'm figuring this stuff out.
Well, the way I break it down is I have various wedding packages based on different products. So I start everything off at my core package. The core package is the starting point, and where everything from there on forth goes into packages, which means they can either go a la carte, or they can go with a package that will include all the stuff in the core. Stuff like I always give my clients a free engagement session. It's sort of kind of factored in a little bit already, but if they come back and say, oh, well, we don't want an engagement session, I say, well, it's included. You know, it's a free service. And the reason for that, and the reason why I push that so hard is, why are you going to show up to the wedding without them ever having to interact with you? You know, let's have some fun with it. Let's shoot something that's worthwhile. And you know what? It's going to get them a better feel. And when you shoot for the wedding, they're going to be completely comfortable. So I make sure that they have an engagement shoot. I put a proof album in there. I put the proof album is just the press printed one with you know, it's, I don't know if any of you guys use collages, but I always do a proof book for them. All their wedding images with a file number, so it corresponds to their CD. So I put that in.
Is it a 4x6 album?
No, it's an 8.5 by 11.
Okay.
And it has 9 little pictures with their file number right underneath. It's actually press printed. It's not sliding.
Perfect. Got it. No, yeah, I was just looking at some of them through White House Custom Color, and they do 4x6s and bind them, so I was just curious.
Oh, no, this isn't bound. This is actually press printed. So this is
right, I saw that. Right.
Okay. So that's all in there, the engagement session. I give them a couple of 8x10s just so they can have either for themselves or their family. And that's basically the core package. Oh, and it includes like 2 photographers and an assistant for full day. I always bring an assistant with me because the assistant sets up all my lighting.
You bring an assistant and a second?
Yes.
Then? Okay.
The second is always with the guys. They spend the time with them. And then the assistant makes sure, basically works like a wedding planner. You know, we make sure that, so I can spend more time with the couple. I make sure that they're on top of the time. They're on top of the schedule. We make sure we get all the shots that we need. That way I can just shoot, and they basically just tell me, hey, you got to get this, you got to get this. So if time starts running out, you know, they're there for me. Plus they set up all the lights, which saves me all the time in the world, because as they're setting up lights, I can go off and shoot something else. So I don't have to worry. They drive with me, so they know. I give them the plan. I say, this is what we're going to set up. This is how we're going to set it up. Just do it. So they take care of that.
Real quick, David, before we go any further, I just wanted to let everyone know, if you guys are watching this video on the website, feel free to use that Facebook chat area if you've got any questions for David or anybody else here, because we're coming up on a quarter after, probably got about another 10 minutes left. If there's anything you guys want to ask or have us discuss, feel free to put it right there or send us a Twitter message, because we're watching all that at the same time. And we haven't said hello, since it's kind of a roundtable thing. I just really want to quickly say hello to David and Hans there. I see you guys coming. Where are you guys coming in from?
Well, I can start. I come in from Sweden. I'm just starting out with photography, and I've been doing it for 3 or 4 years, maybe.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about doing something serious about it. So just feeling myself around. I'm not decided on what I'm going to do, if I'm going to go into shooting people or shooting things.
Cool. And then we got David Spector, too. How's it going, David?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Where are you from?
I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Are you a part-time, hobby, professional?
Advanced amateur, looking to go into professional.
Okay.
So,
cool.
Haven't shot any weddings yet, but I got my first one coming up in October. So.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
I'm a little nervous.
Well, according to what David says, you're going to need an assistant and someone, a second shoot, hold lights. What else, David?
I was going to say, for anybody who's either in the Hangout for the first time or watching from the website, you can go back and check through all of our episodes. We try to provide you guys with as much information as possible to basically kind of start your own business in photography if that's what you feel like you want to do. And we cover a broad range of stuff, from commercial to weddings to portraits and everything in between. So however, if you want to start photographing sandwiches, we haven't quite covered that topic.
We haven't done the product. We have not had a product person on yet. I was just thinking about that. That's cool. And speaking of episodes, Erica in our Hangout sent me, because we had interviewed her a couple months ago, and she's like, "Where's that video at? I want to go watch it again or link to it or something." And I was like, oh crap, where is that video at? It's not on the website. So I want you to know, Erica, I pulled everything down last night and this morning from the various different YouTube accounts.
Which is very time-consuming because YouTube limits the amount of videos you can download per hour. So Eric was up till the wee hours, if you can't tell by looking.
You can only download 2 at a time. So it's like you do your 2, and then you have to wait an hour before you can do another 2. And this is number 26 today. So it took a while, but I have them all. And then in the next day or 2, or 3 or 4, I'll have them on the website with posts and everything like that, so you can go back and check out the archive. And we've done some changes too on the website. So the videos now, if you're watching on the website, it's much different. We're not using live stream. We're using Google's embeddable on-air thing with the Hangouts to put the video in there. And then Dustin hooked us up with this Facebook comment chat thing, so that anything you type in there, we can see and share out as well. So
we try to keep it spicy. Every time you come back to the website, it looks different. So just deal with it, people.
That's right. Yeah, we're gonna have dancing girls on there next week, probably.
What?
I didn't tell you about that. No.
Oh man, you've been holding out on me, Eric.
Sorry to interrupt. There's a way around the limit to downloading videos from YouTube.
Oh really? What's the
You
limit?
can use a plugin in Firefox.
Oh.
Called hang on. It's called. I'm just gonna pull out the video here. Let's see.
Watch. As soon as he tells us what it is, the Hangout's gonna get shut down. Google's
Nope.
gonna be like,
No.
He mentions the word, and they've got some.
I said a secret word. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's called Download Helper.
Download Helper. Would have helped me a lot yesterday, but
yeah, I know.
I didn't mean to cause you that much work.
Yeah.
I use it when I see stuff I want to keep and rewatch, and I don't want the hassle to go through. I don't even know if I have an internet or I want to watch it on my PS3 or another platform. I usually pull down those videos.
Cool.
And you just click download and then let it go. But you still have the limitation of 2 to 3 videos at any given moment.
Okay, yeah.
But you can start 2, and as soon as the first one is ready, you pull up the next one, click download, and just keep going.
Cool. Okay, that sounds good. Download Helper. I'll check that out.
Nice. And also for people that are watching now or later via YouTube, you can also leave us comments on on the YouTube video or just on the website. But if there are ways that you feel would improve your viewer experience, because our goal is to try and make this as interactive as possible. So if you're a tweeter, then hit us up at Photog TV on Twitter. Or use the Facebook comments window. But if you guys have ideas on ways to provide a better experience for you, definitely let us know, because our goal is to try and again make this as interactive as possible. So
cool. So anything else? Anybody else want to jump in and offer some comments or tips? Or David, do you have anything else that you wanted to add on the waiting side?
Well, it looks like I'm going to talk to Erica a little bit later on, so we'll figure that stuff out. But I mean, if anyone has any questions, I mean, I would love for any of you guys that I'm just meeting for the first time to drop me a line on my Facebook page or something like that, and
Yeah, David, let's do that. Let's get your info real quick. What's people want to learn more about what you do and see some of your work? Where should they head to?
Well, my website is davidapuzzo.com. So it's DavidApuzzo, so 1 P and 2 Z's. And the Facebook page is just facebook.com/DavidApuzzoPhoto. And then, there's links to my Twitter and all that stuff, Twitter, DA Photography. Yeah, so cool. Those are my 3 main things.
And for those of you guys that were, they came in to the Hangout later, or if you're just now watching from the website, David's got his own line of T-shirts that are pretty badass.
They're really cool.
I mean, they're pretty awesome. So
those 3 new ones just got launched today.
Nice.
And I assume with your graphic design background, you're designing these yourself, right?
Let me keep that simple. So I came up with the design, but I had somebody physically make it. Does that make sense? You know, like
yeah, so you send the design to them.
Right. I knew what I wanted, and then I directed something to somebody else. So same thing with the website. Like I do have the background in that, but I don't have the time to do it. So I basically will say, hey, you guys do it for me, and I'll just tell you what it's got to look like. Same thing happened with the website. I knew how I wanted it to function, but if you have resources and you know people that can do this stuff.
What is your base for your website? Do you know? Is it?
What do you mean?
Like,
oh, you mean the back end?
Yeah.
Oh, the entire website is WordPress.
WordPress. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah, like the entire back end. So every single page is all fully updated through WordPress, with the exception of the online store, which is through Big Cartel. Okay. Big Cartel is an online merchandise store that you can sign up for an account with.
Got it. Yeah, because I'm WordPress and Smug combined together. So.
Yeah, well, Collages is all of my client stuff. So if you click on client, that's all through Collages.
Got it. Okay, so cool. Very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how every photographer finds their way of doing it, and yeah. I like your WordPress. I like what you've done with your website. It's nice.
It was a year in the making, so it was worth it.
Did you do all the design on it yourself, David, or?
Well, like I said, I came up with everything I wanted, like how I wanted it laid out, how I wanted it to function, and then I had my web designer do basically everything. So I basically planned it out from January of last year to like July, just on paper and in my head. And then once July hit, we kind of went full force with getting the design, getting the layout, and then we launched it on Christmas Eve. So it literally took a year to do.
Wow.
Yeah. But it's no Flash, which is the best part about it. Like it's all just Yeah, it's all jQuery and just some script stuff so it works great on an iPad or an iPhone. And I don't know if you guys do Google Analytics, but 40% of all of my viewers are from a mobile device.
Huh. Nice. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So whether it's
analytics, yep.
Yeah.
And that's why I went WordPress over Flash, because you really want to be able to be used everywhere.
Well, the WordPress isn't. WordPress is just the back end.
Right.
The coding itself is jQuery, which, I mean, it's Greek to me, but
right.
I just say, hey, just make it do this. And if you guys are looking for a graphic designer or a designer for a website, one bit of advice I can give you is, and this is just from my experiences, if you can think about it, it could be done. It just depends on the experience of your designer. Like I did my website. When I did my website, I had these crazy ideas. Like if you go to the store, you got like that little zoom when you scroll over one of the items. That was something that he actually had to research to make it smooth transitions and not make it all choppy and kind of like slowing the computer down or anything. So you could do it. It's just a matter of finding somebody that will take the time to research it, and it worked out. Worked out pretty well.
Very cool. Well,
yeah, I can tell it works on my very cheap Android phone as well.
There you go.
Well, everybody, we are coming up to the end of the episode today, and I got to admit, I was a little nervous about having a random, roundtable and just having nobody show up. So the fact that everybody's here, and we've got, people on our website watching right now. I know we've got Justin Douglas, who's another photographer here in Austin, who attended my precision camera workshop. So hey, Justin. But anyway, but everybody, thank you for jumping in.
You. Justin and I have a basketball thing going on, so we talk about Kevin Durant. Justin, these are my James Harden shoes that I made. Look at those. Okay.
And Eric's going to be starting his own line of shoes, apparently.
That's
so
right. Got some shoe design.
Yes. So, but anyways, thank you everybody for watching. You can catch us live every week at photog.tv or on our Google Plus page. Photog TV. Make sure you circle it if you want to be in the Hangout. For those of you that are watching, if you have ideas for topics or if you just want to be on the show, tweet at us or you can email us photogtv@gmail.com, and we'd be happy to oblige. So I don't know, Eric, I feel like our Facebook comments and our new website layout was a pretty good success. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you guys don't know the nightmare we had when we were doing live stream and we were like literally running a Hangout and streaming it from the same machine to live stream at the same time, and it was a mess. But this new way we're doing it, I think, is going to work out really well.
If you guys are just now watching, Eric used to have a lot more hair until we
really
until we switched to a simpler layout.
I didn't even use the word hair. I called them locks. They were gorgeous locks.
You guys remember like the '80s, back like Metallica? That was Eric.
That was Eric.
Last week.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
I've got to head out. My daughter was saying something about our goldfish freaking out, so.
Okay. Well, go save the goldfish.
All right.
Wrapping it up. So, everybody, thank you for joining us today. This is Photog TV, Episode 26, Roundtable 2, and we'll see you next week at 12 p.m. on Thursday.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.